I have not been a lawyer my whole life. This was my second career. My first career was as a Navy helicopter pilot. I was a helicopter pilot at Naval Air Station Jacksonville. Spent 3 years deploying on aircraft carriers during Desert Storm and shortly after the war. Then spent the next 4 years as an instructor helicopter pilot. I left active duty, went to law school, became a lawyer, but at the same time stayed in the reserve, stayed flying, and was able to complete my enlistment in the Navy and retired as a Navy commander after 26 years of service.
How old were you when you decided to go to law school?
I was 30 when I decided to go to law school.
Were you among the oldest in the class?
Yeah, it was an interesting experience for me as a second career person in law school. I was 30 years old. I was married. I had been in a career for almost 10 years as a naval officer. I was used to getting up and going to work and being in charge of many young men and women in the Navy, responsible for budgets and maintenance equipment, and switched to being a student and was able to bring that focus to my studies and was able to complete law school and pass the bar first time around and begin my career. In the litigation process, they're entitled to, and they will, in almost every case, hire what's called, they'll try and say it's an independent doctor. It's not an independent doctor. And of course, we know what the insurance company doctor is going to say. They're going to always minimize any injuries, minimize the need for treatment, and certainly say that there's no need for future treatment. Under the rules, they're allowed to do that, and they're allowed to present that at trial. We're able to combat that because we have the doctors that we use, and we're able to undercut their opinions.
And when jurors get these conflicting doctor opinions, what do they do with that information? Because these are both MDs. Doesn't that confuse them?
It often does. That was one of the strategies I used as an insurance defense lawyer, a lawyer for the insurance companies, was to hire these doctors, often with flashy resume. They've gone to good schools, but at the end of the day, we're able to point out, hey, these are paid for, hired guns that are here to present opinions that are favorable to the insurance company. They're not treating doctors. They're not looking out for the client. They're there to assist the insurance company in minimizing the amount of benefits that the injured person is entitled to.
Is your doctor a hired gun too?
No, these are folks that our clients have gone to because they need treatment. It's interesting. I think the latest statistics I've seen from the Supreme Court in Florida, who compiles these type of things, is that less than 1% of all the cases in the state of Florida actually end up going through trial to a jury verdict. So it's a small percentage. Most of our cases that we file are resolved through direct negotiations or the mediation process, but we always prepare as if we're going to trial because that's what we do as trial attorneys. There are a lot of lawsuits that are filed in Florida and other states. One of the advantages to filing a lawsuit in the state of Florida is that we are required to go through the mediation process or a settlement conference process. And historically, we've found that the vast majority of our cases are resolved through this process. And we prepare for that just like we would prepare for trial. We compile all the evidence, we take depositions as necessary, and then we're able to present that to not only the independent mediator, the neutral mediator who assists both parties in the negotiation, but you're also able to present that to the defendant, his attorney, and often the insurance representative who's in attendance.
Why is it important you put all that work in if it's just going to go to mediation?
Well, it's always a fight with the insurance companies. I come from a background of working for insurance companies for the first portion of my career. That's what I did. I worked for insurance companies and defended these type of lawsuits. And I tell my clients, if you're entitled to $10, the insurance company wants to only pay you $9. And we spend our time fighting to make sure that you get all 10 of those dollars.